What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Young, Famous, and African. You guys, this is going to be season 2, you guys, episode 1, and the episode was titled Awkward Reunion, you guys. And was it ever an awkward reunion? But yeah, before we go ahead and get into that, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Young, Famous, and African, shall we? All right, you guys, so this episode, it opens up, so we see Diamond. So Diamond is calling up Naked, right? So Diamond wants to do a reunion of sorts. He wants to get the entire group back together, with the exception of maybe one person, right? So Andile, he doesn't really see it for Andile at this point because Andile and Zari last season, they sparked up a little something with each other, right? So we see everybody. So we see Kanye. Kanye still has these. You know what I noticed with this? A lot of them have bad wigs. Kanye's are bad. I don't know who does the wigs in Africa, but they're not the best. The hair quality doesn't look the best, and then you can actually like see the knots, so you know that it's a wig. But hey, it is what it is, right? So Kanye lets us know that she is now a resident of Dubai, but she still comes back to South Africa. So she met up with Naked, and Naked was like, "Where's Kutsi?" Kutsi is still in Dubai. And I was like, how did Kanye go from South Africa to Dubai? But hey, it's just neither here nor there, right? I love it, right? So Kaylee and Naked are still together, and Naked is talking about how he is dicking Kaylee down. I was just like, oh my God. Not Kaylee. So we're gonna see Kaylee and her messiness this season, and literally we saw Kaylee and her messiness in the first episode. I was like, Kaylee, okay, girl, we don't have to calm down on this messiness, right? But yeah. So next up, Zari and Swanky, they were supposed to meet up with each other, right? So again, everybody knows about this party that they're putting together for Diamond. So Zari and Swanky were supposed to be meeting up, and I was like, wow, Zari and Swanky, and not Annie and Swanky. But we'll talk about that, right? So Zari is looking for an outfit for this party. Swanky, however, was, pretty late. So when Swanky got there, Swanky wanted to know, like, so what's going on between you and Andile? So Zari says, I really haven't saw him. I was like, oh, okay. Because, I mean, what if they looked at each other last year? I'm like, they looked at each other very lovingly. But hey, we'll talk about that as we get into it, right? So then they also talked about Swanky and Ani. So we find out that Swanky and Annie haven't spoken to each other, and Swanky didn't want to tell why he hasn't talked to Annie, and he's still in this. So I'm only on episode 2, so he's still in episode 2. Didn't even tell why he's not spoken to Annie. But I know we're gonna get closer and closer, and we're gonna get to it. But you guys, I want to pause here, and I want to move forward. So next up, we see Annie and Kanye, right? So they met up with each other, and Annie, oh God, Annie in this relationship with Tubaba. I love Annie, but I think when it comes to Annie, I do believe that Annie has a bit of insecurity issues, right? And I think it's some insecurities. I do believe maybe she was, rather young when she got with him, because the fact that this man, now it's one thing to have kids before the marriage, right? That's fine. But to have kids while we're married, no, unless your relationship is that of an open relationship, a polyamorous relationship, unless you do stuff like that, that's understandable. But I don't think that that's the relationship that Annie and Tubaba have, right? Now, with Annie, I will say that Annie is Annie is it seems like she's obsessed with what the blog said about her, right? Because the blogs were talking all after this show aired last season. The blogs definitely did talk, right? And it was never anything good. And here's my thing: when it comes to your relationship, like I said, what works for your relationships works for your relationship. So you shouldn't take too much stock into what people say, think, or feel. Now, if you know that it's not what you're portraying it to be, that's a different story. If you're like trying to portray it up that, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm this, then the chips will, fall where they may, and the cookie will eventually crumble. I really do feel for her. Like, I want Annie to be happy, and I just don't see that Annie is happy, right? So Annie and Connie, they also talking about her, Swanky, right? So Annie says that, yeah, she hasn't spoken to him, and the reason why she feels that he hasn't spoken to her is because of all the things that are in the blogs, and she feels that maybe he is trying to protect his image, protect his brand, right? And I was like, I can understand what you're saying, but I don't think that that's the case because, yes, Swanky has been everywhere because I actually follow Swanky on Instagram, and he does a lot, right? But I don't necessarily think that that's the case because how does what's in the blogs about you and your husband affect Swanky's brand? Because I mean, it's not like he's being accused of being a serial cheater and having multiple babies with women, but okay. I mean, I guess if that's what Annie feels, I'm not gonna take away from what she feels, but I was just like, I don't think that's the case, sis. But hey, let's pause here, you guys, and let's go ahead and move forward. So next up, you guys, we see Nadia. Nadia is meeting up with Andile, and they talk, right? So everyone is really pretty much talking about this party that Diamond is having, right? So Nadia asked Andile, "Are you going to the party?" And he is. I was like, okay. Here's the thing with Andile and Zari. I didn't have an issue with them dating or whatever they were doing. I know that Diamond had an issue with it, and I can kind of see Diamond's point of view, but then at the same time, I feel like when it comes to Diamond, it was a bit of jealousy, and it was a little bit controlling, right? But here's the thing: if you know your friend, and if you think that your friend is a what do you want to say? If you think that your friend is someone who is not looking for a relationship, if you think your friend is just trying to smash and go, and you got kids with this woman, then I get where he's coming from. But I don't think that that was it. But if you guys feel so, let me know. But Nadia has a boyfriend who she's in love with. I didn't catch his name. I know she said his name is AKA. But yeah, I wonder if we'll see her boyfriend this season. So Andile asked her about her ex-friend. So I didn't know who this ex-friend was at the time. They kept showing her photos, but then I think we met this ex-friend later in the episode, Bonang. So Nadia says that people are saying that their friendship ended because Bonang was with her ex and Nadia is now with the ex, right? But she says that wasn't the case. She said that the friendship had just, dissolved on its own, right? I was like, well, that may be your story. It might not be her story, but okay. So Andile, told Nadia that he went to go see Zari after the wedding and that Diamond was there. And I'm like, that had to be hella fucking awkward just to walk in there and see, oh, yeah, I came here to see her, but I didn't expect to see you. Ooh, mm-mm. So we see Diamond. So he met up with Naked, right? So Diamond asked Naked, who did he invite to the party, right? He said, I invited the whole entire crew, including Andile. And so Diamond was looking at him like, you did what? And why would you do that? And I was like, ay, yeah, 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 yeah. So he also tells him about this artist that he's invited. Her name is Fantana. She's from Ghana. Actually, Fantana is born. I think we'll talk about her a little bit, but yeah, Fantana. So Diamond says that he needs to talk to Andile, and Naked told him, well, he had already told him he invited him, right? I wanting to have the conversation with Andile, but like I said a few minutes ago, I do get where he's coming from partially, but I also feel that it is a tad bit of jealousy if we're being honest with each other, it just gives a little bit of jealousy. That's what I'm getting. But I definitely want you guys to tell me what you guys think down there in the comment section below. But let's pause here and wrap up episode number 1. All right, guys, so we get to the party. Everybody is there, and that damn Kaylee was being messy, right? She started the mess talking to Andile about Zari and Diamond. I was like, girl, you done came in on your messy bag already, right? So at this party, it was actually quite, it's divided, right? Because Annie and Connie showed up, and Annie did not speak to, she did not speak to Zari. Who else? She damn near didn't speak to anybody. Let's just be real. Let's also be real. When Annie came into that party, she was very rude. It was rude, right? I get that you might not like some people when you come in, but you're entering a room. Speak to them. Be like, hi, everybody. Just give a blanketed hi. You don't have to say, hi, Zadi. Hi, Kaylee. Hi, Naked. Hi, you don't have to do all of that. You can just give a blanketed hi and that be that, right? And Zari noticed it. So then Swanky arrived, right? Swanky went to the table, hugged all the ladies, and did not hug Annie. I was like, see, here we go again. You don't have to hug her, but at least acknowledge. Like, it's really rude and disrespectful to walk into a room of people and ignore one person, right? I don't do that. Technically, it's what I said earlier. Give a blanketed hi, like, what's up, everybody? What's up, y'all? Hey, that lets everybody, you speak to everybody, even if there's someone in the room that you don't like, you can say hi, and if they turn their back or whatever, that's on them, right? So at one point, Connie pulled Nadia to the side because she was like, whoa, I know Nadia. Nadia, don't do this. Don't ask Swanky and Annie what the hell is going on between them, right? So she did that. So there is, when Andile showed up, you can definitely see, when Andile and Zari were to get together, you can definitely see that there's something there. I don't know what it is, but it's something, right? So Swanky let us know that he wanted to introduce the group to somebody. So he introduced Bonang, right? So when Bonang was introduced, Annie got up, Nadia got up, and so did Kanye, right? And with Bonang, I can tell her personality is going to be over the top, right? So, like I said, the party was, completely divided, right? So when Annie and them came back in, I guess Annie had left her purse sitting on the chair, and so she told Swanky, like, I was sitting here, my purse is right here, right? She asked him, can he move? And he did not move. So she felt completely disrespected by that, and she left. And I honestly, I didn't blame her, right? Because that was rude, right? If my purse is in here, like, can you at least give me my goddamn purse? Like, something. So we are lastly introduced to Fontana. So like I said, Fontana, she's 25 years old. She's a dance hall artist, and she was born in America, but she moved to Ghana after she finished school. So Kaylee. So Kaylee felt the way, because Naked is the one that invited her, right? And Kaylee felt the way that Naked invited her. I'm like, well, girl, you should know your man by now, huh? Like, I don't know what to tell you, sis. So, Fantana. I like Fantana, but I see that Fantana is going to be the new messy one of the group, because I think at one point she asked Andile and Zara about their relationship. Then we got the whole thing about, Diamond was interested in Nadia. I was like, oh, so we finna go down memory lane. Okay, I'm here for it, but okay. But that's it, you guys. That's the end of episode 1. So we're gonna pause here and we're gonna do episode number 2. All right, guys. So this is episode 2 of season 2 of Young, Famous, and African, and this episode was titled "Masks Off." Right. So this episode we see Kanye. So she's meeting up with Kaylee and Annie. Right. So they want to discuss what happened at that reunion party, right? And Kaylee was talking about how she was ready to get the fuck out of there because it was hella uncomfortable for her. And I was like, I bet it was. But you kind of was messy, Kaylee. So I don't know how uncomfortable it was, but I don't think Kaylee got uncomfortable until Fontana showed up. That's really when I think she got uncomfortable, right? So they talked about Nadia and Bonang, and like I said, Nadia has her story about what happened with her relationship with Bonang, and I'm pretty sure Bonang has her story as well. So I hope we hear that sooner rather than later, right? So then Kaylee also brings up Swanky and Annie. So Annie was like, well, if you want to know what the issue is between me and Swanky, I suggest that you go talk to him and ask him what the beef is, right? Because I don't know what I don't even know if I think it's like she doesn't know what it is or she just don't want to talk about it. For me, honestly, it feels like one of those situations where you be mad at your friends and it be the most trivial and stupid thing. It'd be like, oh, but you said this. Well, I heard that you said that, and da 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 da, right? So Swanky, so we see Swanky. So Swanky is meeting up with Nadia, right? So Swanky felt the way when Nadia, Annie, and Kanye got up when he introduced Bonang, right? And I was actually with Nadia. I'm like, Swanky, like, be for real. I'm pretty sure that you knew that Nadia and Bonang were once friends and are not friends anymore, right? And she said it. I feel like you wanted a reaction from that. And I was like, I agree with you. I definitely feel as if he wanted a reaction from that, right? So he said that he thought that they settled their issues. Did you ask either one of them that question? Because that was where I was sitting there like, okay, so did you ask Nadia, like, hey, Nadia, do you have an issue with Bonang? Or Bonang, do you have an issue with Nadia? If you didn't ask that question, how did you think that they solved their issues? Like, let's be real. So she asked him about him and Annie, right? So is what I just said a few minutes ago, right? So with Swanky, he's mad at Annie because he heard I don't know if he heard Annie say something about him or if he was told Annie said something about him, right? So I don't know necessarily what it is, but he said that Annie, he said it. She did something. She said something, right? But like I said, I don't know if he heard it directly or if he heard it through the grapevine. And so he says Annie is mad at me because I'm mad at her. So again, like I say, we don't know what it is that he won't say what was said. And again, he won't. I don't know if he heard it firsthand or if he heard it through someone else. So I really just don't know how to take that. But yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and pause here, and I guess we'll move forward. Next up, you guys, we got Diamond. So Diamond is in the studio with Fantana, and I don't know what kind of studio session this was because bruh man just wanted to hit, like, because at one point he asked her, "Does she squirt?" I was like, "Oh my god!" So you want to make music with the girl in the studio, but you also want to make music with her in the bedroom. And she's 25 years old, by the way. I don't know how old Diamond is. Like, oh, Diamond, it kind of gives creeper. I hate to say it, buddy, but it just gives a little bit of creepy. But hey. So, let's see. Where are we at now? So, next up, we see Nadia and Kanye. They met up, right? So, Nadia told Kanye how, annoyed Swanky was with both she and Kanye when they got up from the party and walked away when he brought in Bonang, right? So they also talked about the issues that the group has, right? Annie has an issue with Zari. Annie has an issue with Swanky. Swanky has an issue with Annie. Andile has an issue with Diamond. So everybody in the group has an issue with one another, right? So they talked about Annie, who went back to Nigeria, and they heard that Tubaba is expecting another child. Now I do remember when this story came out, right? I remember reading it, and I was like, "Ooh, Annie, damn, girl can just never catch a break when it comes to that man." Like I was like, "Oh, sweet Jesus!" But we're gonna talk about Annie in just a minute, right? So Nadia noticed that at the table that they're sitting at, she's like, it was seating for three. So we were introduced to a new guy. His name is Lewis, right? Very handsome guy, but very cocky at the same time, right? So we find out that Lewis and Diamond don't necessarily like each other because they have an ex in common. And when he said that, I was like, he was talking about called him and he wanted to meet up with him, and he said no. I would say the same thing. If I don't know who you are and we ain't got nothing in common besides an ex, what we meeting up for, bruh? What we meeting up for? Like, I just would love to know the answer to that question, right? But that's that. So let's pause here and let's go ahead and move forward, you guys. So I do want to mention that Kanye. So Kanye is talking about she wants to have a party, right? To get everyone together so that everyone can hash out their issues. I was like, oh. Now, if you ain't never watched the Real House, if you ain't never watched the Housewives franchise or any American, well, this is, I'm saying American, right? But if you ain't never watched any kind of reality TV, you should know that getting everyone together to put their issues and grievances out there, it ain't the fuck gonna work. But okay, right? So Andile and Diamond, so they met up with each other, right? When not Andile, but when Diamond called Andile stupid, I was like, well, damn. And I will again, I'll agree with him. You could have met up with any other woman besides the woman that I have children with, right? But it goes back to what I just said a few minutes earlier. It gives controlling, it gives jealousy, right? But Andile says, you know what? I'll step away, right? But and like I said a few minutes earlier too, I can see I can see it if he feels like my friend is a player, my friend, is a hoe. He runs through women, right? And I don't want the mother of my children to be that person, right? So I definitely get that part, but more specifically, it just comes off as very controlling, right? Or jealousy. So Swanky, he met up with Fantana, and she told him about the studio session, and he was like, she was talking about it was all business. He's like, really? Because Diamond tries to smash. She said, well, it was a little bit of that. It was business and pleasure. I was like, girl, please keep it real, right? I kept looking at Fantana, and it ain't no shade to Fantana. She's a beautiful girl, but I kept looking at her. I'm like, girl, you got a face that looks very familiar. Then it finally dawned on me who she reminds me of, and bear with me, you guys, because don't take this as me being shady or nothing like that. But look at her and look at Cheryl Underwood. She kind of looks like Cheryl Underwood's daughter. No shade there, right? But I definitely do feel that when it comes down to what's her name again, Fantana. I definitely feel like Miss Fantana wanted to test the waters with old Mr. Diamond, and I don't have a problem with it. Getting how you live, girlfriend. But yeah, you guys, I want to pause here and wrap up this episode, you guys. So next up, you guys, we see Naked. So Naked he's working out, and he's invited Diamond and Andile down, right? So they do, Diamond is the first one to show up. He tells Naked that he did have a conversation with Andile, and basically that he'll back off, right? So then he also talks to them about Andile didn't show up, and he talked to them about being in the studio with Fantana, and basically how you want to hit it, right? And Andile was like, so that's all it is? You just want to smash this girl? And they were like, yeah, Naked and Andile, not Naked and Andile, Naked and Diamond just don't care about nothing, just want the fuck. I was like, that is terrible. How the fuck old are y'all? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how old are these two? But it is what it is, right? They also talked about Tubaba. And while they're talking about Tubaba, we see Annie. Annie. Again, I like Annie, but I just think Annie lives in a different world, a different universe. Because she says that the blogs are fake, right? If she feels that the blogs are fake, I don't feel no type of way, right? So earlier in the episode, Swanky saw the post and he voice texted her. When he voice texted her, she got that voice memo and she tossed that phone. I was like, ma'am, he's checking on you because he saw that post and he just want to make sure everything is good. He ain't saying that it's true. He just wants to know if you're okay. But okay. So we get to Kanye's party, right? It's a masquerade party. So when Andile and Zari saw each other, I was like, baby, y'all are not hiding. There's a connection there. But okay. So they talked, and he told her about the conversation he had with Diamond. While they're talking, in walked Diamond, right? So everyone shows up to the party. And Kanye, you guys know Kanye gonna make a situation about her if she don't do anything else, right? So she got up and gave a speech, and she addressed Annie and Swanky and said, fuck you. I was like, oh my God. And then she addressed Diamond and Andile. Fuck you both too. I was like, well, Kanye, well, damn. That is rude and disrespectful, and Andile felt that way about that. I was like, she literally told them all, fuck you. I was like, what the fuck, girl? Oh, that was hilarious, you guys. That was hilarious. And she didn't even allow Lewis to introduce himself. Hilarious, you guys. The first two episodes were funny to me. So, like I said, we're gonna do 2 episodes at a time, right? And then for episode 9, that'll be by itself. But like the video, you guys. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, you guys. Be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.